You're listening to the Training Talk podcast with Watsy and DK. Dive into strength basics and elite endurance secrets. Whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned athlete, this is the show for you. Join us each episode as we explore everything from training to wellness, nutrition, and much more. Let's get started. Welcome to the Training Talk podcast with your hosts Watsy and DK. Here we are again for episode 4, and today is a very special occasion for the podcast, for the show, and the first of many more. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass over to DK. Hopefully that we can go about this interview. You know, we're still learning, we're still practicing this, so yeah, hopefully we can give it a good old crack. Anyway, DK, I'll just pass over to you, and off you go.
Well, good morning, everyone. Might not be morning for you at the moment, but we're recording this Saturday morning. So we have our very first guest on today. So Jen Millum is one of the stars of ultra running in WA. So Jen has run over 200K multiple times in backyard ultra events. She's won multiple 100-mile races. She's run a 200-mile race, and she's also run over 200K in 24 hours. So quite a resume. Jen, before we get started on some questions for you, how is training going at the moment? What did you get up to this morning?
Hi, Dave. Hi, Watsy.
What's going on? Welcome.
What did I get to this morning? I just did a little 11K because I'm tapering at the moment. In fact, that was my last run.
Yeah. So what are you tapering for?
I fly to Cairns on Tuesday night.
Oh, no, you know it's going to be hot when you go to Cairns.
No, I'm a bit scared about everything Cairns at the moment. To run the final of the trilogy of 100 miles.
Yeah, great. So what day does that race start?
It starts on Thursday night.
Yep.
Which is I don't know what date that is.
So Thursday. So about 4 or 5 days away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 7 p.m.
Yeah, great. So you're feeling fighting fit?
I'd like to think so. I hope so. Been training hard, and I'm ready. I'm ready to run now.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, sorry, what's your cut in on you there? What were you asking, mate?
Oh, no, it's all good. I'm just saying, starting a race at 7 p.m. at night.
Yeah, I'm not a great fan of that. I'm not sure why Sean has done that, but
yeah, right.
Well, we've just got to go with the decisions of a race director.
Well, last time I ran at night, I fell to bits through that party ultra.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of nighttime starts, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially, well, I guess I've never done anything really longer than Lark Hill, so starting with a nighttime start. So, yeah, I think it's just very hard to get any quality sleep in during the day. So,
yeah.
You're sort of starting already tired. That's probably why I wouldn't prefer that way, but it'll add to the challenge for you, I guess, and it'll be the same for everybody. So
yeah, everyone's in sort of the same boot, and we've got a bit of travel and time difference that we've also got to cater for. Hopefully we can sleep Thursday morning somewhere. Yeah, and be ready to go on Thursday night.
I guess the positive of the Night Star, and they do the same at UTMB, so if you ever want to go there, this is good practice. But yeah, the positive is that you'll do the night leg when you're fresh. So you won't be kind of stumbling down the trails, heavily fatigued. You'll be fresh, you'll be alert, and Yeah,
it's okay in some way, but towards the end of the race, you're also finishing in the dark, most likely.
Yeah, so is that a sort of course that you're going to go under 24 hours or over 24 hours on?
I would really like to go under 24 hours, but I don't know. It's just under 4,000 vert. So
yeah.
Just for you guys at home listening, 100 mile is 160.1K.
60.9, so yeah, nearly 161.
And you run that in 24 hours?
Hopefully.
I have done that before, and I do like to do that, but with the vertical challenges that this particular race holds, I'm not sure. And plus, I don't know the course or the weather, so there's a lot of unknowns.
So you had to do a lot of research online.
No.
Oh.
I'm not a researcher. I just read the manual and I started to freak out when he said be careful of crocodiles and leeches and cassowaries, and I'm like, what?
Cassowaries are big birds but dangerous too, you know.
I didn't even know they existed until I read the race manual and Googled them.
I swear they're the closest relation to a dinosaur.
Yeah, I've heard some bad stories about cassowaries, so don't loiter around too much.
No, you'll be right. You'll be right. We believe in you, Jen.
You've got a whistle or a water bottle or something to scare them away.
I got my pole. Go away.
Yeah, that might work.
Sorry, what vert are you looking at here for this race?
From what I have looked at, I think it's like 3,800 meters. So it's up and down mountains and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably pretty similar to the WTF course, which you've gone sub 24 hours on before. I think it does depend a bit on the terrain. Like WTF is quite runnable. So like if there's heavy rocky sections, sort of bush bashing sections, that can slow you down a lot more than the vert. But yeah. Oh,
I love the WTF course.
I think
one of my favourites. Yeah. The first one I did.
Good promotion coming up at the end of September. I think it's the 21st. So the entries are still available if you want to sign up to WTF. I'm not race directing this year. I'll be at the first aid station down at Scarp Pool with Ron McGlynn. We're calling ourselves the XRD's aid station. So Ron's retired from the track races, a race director there, and I was obviously retired from WTF and the Party Ultra Lark Hill. So we'll be down on the river to encourage you. At about 90k, and then if you need any encouragement at about 10k, we'll be there as well.
So do we have a link for that? Like, does it close at a specific time?
Yeah, we can get one up on the pod.
All right, easy as. Links will be in the show notes for the WTF race.
But I do believe it's just WTFultra.com should get you started, and you should be able to find a link to enter from there. Jen, we might get started on our questions for you. So
I'm scared.
The first question is just a really basic. Just tell us about yourself. Like, what would you? I've obviously given a little bit of an introduction about like your running career, but yeah, just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
About me. I'm a mum. I have 3 beautiful girls. I'm a teacher, and I teach primary school age children. I'm a runner. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a colleague. And I'm a woman.
Yeah, great. So you've managed to fit running in around all these other commitments. How do you do it? What's your strategy?
Strategy, hey? Always strategy talk, Dave.
Is a strategy even applicable at this point?
It's called survival. No. Running for me is a necessity to get through everything else. So, I just make time. If you want to do it, you just make time.
Yeah. And like mainly in the mornings, is that when you find that you've got time available, or do you run morning and evening, or a bit of both? Or
I do prefer to run first thing in the morning. I like to do that, and if I'm training for a race, I will start to double run. So I will run morning and in the afternoon as well after school.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. So obviously you've run a lot of really long events. I was having a look at your DUV. The profile there, and I think it's been over 3 years since you've done anything less than 100 miles.
Yeah. I don't tend to like running anything under a marathon, or even anything really under 100k. I really enjoy getting to that 100k.
Yeah.
And continuing. So I don't really feel like like paying the money to run 50k. It's not worth it. Like, you're only out there for a few hours, and then
it's like your return on investment, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But you obviously don't go straight from like running around after year 2s into running 100 miles. So how and why did you get into running?
Yeah, it does go back a bit. I do. When I was growing up, I was a gymnast, so I was always fit. And when I got married, both my ex-husband and myself ran.
Okay.
But it was just for a little bit of, I don't know. I don't even know why we did it. We just sort of wanted to keep fit. But when my husband cheated on me, I realized that I had to survive on my own.
Yeah.
And so I picked something that was hard that I could do and prove to myself that I could do this life on my own
Yeah.
as Jen. So I entered, I say it's an Ironman, but it was actually a half Ironman. And I just, I trained running, which I loved, cycling, which I hated, and swimming, which I despised. But I did it. It was the last Ironman or half Ironman in Mandurah, and I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling. I know that if people have run Ironman or I don't know how you say it.
Ironman events, we'll go with.
There we go. But they have a red carpet coming
Yep.
down to the finish line, and I got to the end and I had to stop because right at the end there was the finish, and I don't know, I'm getting a bit choked up here. I saw the end and I thought, I did it.
Yeah.
And the lady at the end said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
That's very inspiring, you know, because like, as you said before, when you put your mind to it, you can do anything. And those events like running is an absolute necessity. It's one for me as well. Well, my foot is like, it's starting to get okay again, but being a necessity like that, and it's essentially put you in a position where you wanted to do that half Ironman in Mandurah. I just wanted to touch on, like, when you said you despised swimming and hated cycling, how did you get through that? Like, how did you train for that? Did you wake up one day and say, I really cannot be asked with this today,
Oh yeah.
but I've got to get it done? Like, what drove you to that?
Yeah. It wasn't actually even about the training. It was more about why I was going to do the race in the first place and
Right,
what I needed
yep.
to do for myself. So the running was never an issue because I was sort of already there because I'd been running with my ex anyway, and I had been going to the gym and doing quite a lot of that. So the running for me was fine.
Yeah.
Cycling, I bought a bike and it was the wrong bike.
Oh,
It
no.
was a road bike and I couldn't get fast enough. They have like cutoffs, so I wasn't cycling fast enough to get in under cutoff.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So I had a friend who was very short, and she said she used to do Ironman events, and she had a bike. And I mean, I'm the tallest woman in Rockingham, and she was like the shortest woman in Rockingham.
Wow.
But her hubby put the seat up really high, and I bought those pole things.
Tri-bars.
Yep, those things.
Yeah,
and I leaned forward, and I could fit on the bike. So I used that bike, and I managed to, I think it was I don't know why I've got 3.5 hours in my head, but I think we had to do it for 3.5 hours. And I cycled down the freeway on the freeway path, and I was able to get the distance done in that time. So I thought, okay, I'm okay with that. With the swimming, that was a really hard one. I mean, yeah, I hate to say that I did say I'd just go and get it done, but it meant that I had to go to Aquajetty and get changed and then get wet.
So you'll want to do this was strong enough where you got over all of the discomfort from swimming and cycling. And look, I hate swimming too, but I'm thinking, because I've just bought myself a road bike, so I'm wanting to get into cycling. The reason why I got into cycling is because my foot. But swimming needs, like, I'm in that sort of same position as you when it comes to swimming. But so the reason why you completed that race was far stronger than all of the complications and all of the setbacks and all of the how you say, the objections or difficulty of doing that race, it's quite inspiring, to be honest.
It's not about for me, it's not about motivation, because if it's about motivation, you just go, okay, I'll just go and get this done today. And I despise that. It's about the drive. It's like you have to
Discipline.
you have to have that drive. You have to say, okay, I really want this, and you have to know your why. And if you don't know what your why is, then you have to keep asking the question why. And it was all about why I was doing it, and it wasn't about the swim or the run or the bike ride. My why was that I had to just prove that I am strong, that I can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember because the old triathlon course, the old half Ironman course in Mandurah went like very close to my house. There was an aid station about 100 metres away. And so I always thought I would do it at some particular stage. But I remember it was, and I did do the run leg in the first event. I remember it being very hot pretty much every year. Was it hot the year you did it?
It was terrible. I mean, we started the swim in the canals.
Yeah.
And the day before, this is classic, the day before the Ironman actually started, first-timers went to a first-timers meeting, and the guy said, now listen, the way you tackle these canals is if you're going to have a right turn, go and stay on the left, and then when you turn, it'll be really easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into the water and it was absolutely freezing. And I was like shaking. And
so you didn't have a wetsuit, or you were saving that for the next day? Or?
I had borrowed a friend's daughter's wetsuit, so it was like size 14, kids size 14, and it was great because it makes you float a bit while you're waiting.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, I'm going to stay on the left-hand side because you're in your age group, and because I knew the first turn in the canal was on the right, and go, and I just went really crazy, and I was swimming like I was never swimming before, and then I looked up and all I'd done was cut right across the front of everybody, and I was right on the wall, and there was a lifeguard next to me going, "Are you all right, love?" And so that was terrible. So by the time I'd finished that, I was so cold and suffering hypothermia within my own self, and I could hear my brother. My brother had come over, and my sister had come over with her family, and my brother had come up from Bunbury, and they were all cheering for me. But when I got to the end of that swim, I could hear my brother going, "Go, Jen!" Getting out of the water. I was so cold, and he was like, "You okay?" It took me like 15 minutes to get out of the wetsuit and out of transition and onto the bike.
And then riding down the bike, where you're icy cold, all that wind's not going to help.
It took me quite a while to warm up, but because, like you say, it was quite hot.
Yeah.
Once I'd sort of got to Paganoni Road, I saw one of my friends, Vicky. She was there going, "Go, Jen!" And it sort of spurred me on a bit, and finished that. But by that time, you've hit over lunch and the sun, and oh my word! And so we hit the road for the half marathon, and it was so hot that they had these massive, containers of water, and the people were just scooping jugs out and just chucking it over you as you came into the aid station because of the heat. And you'd sort of run to shade and then stand at the end of the shade and go, okay, you can run to the next bit of shade down Mary Avenue or whatever it was, But I far preferred being way too hot running than I did swimming in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Horrendous. Somebody told me there were sharks in that canal as well. So it was just like I was trying to go fast, but I was
There's lots of
bad.
things in that canal.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same year, but I remember one year I decided I'd go for a walk to the aid station, so like 100 metres away. And I got about halfway there and I was like, no, it's too hot. I went home.
Yeah, it was really hot.
Yeah, and the year I did the run, I think it was about 31, but the sea breeze had come in, so it was hot and sunny, but like we had a nice cool breeze, and even then, like it was hard to run a good time. Fairly hilly course, windy, hot. Definitely not like PB conditions. Yeah, so that was a good introduction to the sport.
Oh, gee. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I sort of started doing things that were tricky. But then I sort of met Secret Rocky Runners crew and the likes of Tim, and that's when I started doing Lark Hill. I think I did the 50, and it was so weird. I finished, and somebody had said that they had, actually maybe you know this, but somebody had a water, like a pack. I think it was a camel pack, and had donated it and said basically just give it to somebody who needs it, a camel pack. And I mean, I didn't know anyone, and somebody came up to me and just said, yes, they want you to have this camel pack. I'm like, I don't need it. I was like, I don't run that far. But it was a water pack that you could wear.
Yeah.
And was that after the event or during the event?
It was after the event. Yeah. I don't know. Did I come sixth or something? I don't know. I can't remember. I think I did the 50K, and I was like, okay, that's the furthest I need to go. And
okay.
I don't need a camel pack, but I took it and started to use it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Running Works were sponsoring the event then, so they may have donated it, and they're definitely for the for the place getters mainly. But I wonder if one of the place getters would say, "Oh, look, I've already got a pack, and so just give this to somebody who looks like they're just starting out in the sport." So that might have been how it came to be yours. Do you like running in a pack these days?
I have a pack, but I no longer have a bladder because more often than not it pops, and it has popped on me a couple of times, and the water has just seeped down and out, and then you're short water. So I don't use the pack with a bladder. I have little soft flasks in the pack at the back now.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Yeah, okay. So I guess if one of those pops, it's you've still hopefully got another one that's going to keep going, and they're a bit stronger as well.
And they're easily to pull out and refill, whereas the bladders are really fiddly. So if you've run out of water or you're running out of water and you need to top it up, you've got to take your entire pack off, and you've got to undo it, fill it up, and then take all the air out, and then put it all back in again. And it's a time waster when you just want to get going.
And it's like extra, like I've trained with a pack or a vest a couple of times, and as I drank and as I try to fill and put it back into its pouch, it felt like I was just carrying big globs of water. I could just, every time I was striking the ground, I was like, plop, plop, plop.
Yeah.
The
trick is to turn it upside down and get all your air out.
Yeah, okay.
I ran for probably 2 years before I found that trick out. I read about it somewhere, and I was like, and here I have like all my, last couple of years been running with it sloshing, thinking that that's what I had to put up with.
Welcome to Training Talk. You're listening to Training Talk Education on how to pack up your vests.
We actually had an interesting situation one year. Lauren Shelley, who actually ran a Commonwealth Games marathon for Australia, so she's an amazing runner. She came to 6 inch one year. I don't think she'd ever used a bladder and a hydration pack before. And so she's at the start going, how does this thing work? And so I actually had to like get it working for her. And I was like, literally, I think I'd even started the countdown. And she's like, oh, excuse me. But she went on to win and break the course record. And but she didn't know how the pack worked. And I was thinking this morning as I put mine on, like wondering like whether you feel more free having a bladder or less free having to wear a bladder, because I never run with water except for my long runs. So I always kind of think it's always a drag for me to have to put this weighty thing on my back and carry it around. I'd prefer to just get thirsty.
For me, water is the heaviest part of my pack. So a really good example was the second to last race I did was Irrational South. And part of the mandatory gear was to have 2 litres of water.
On you at all times.
You drink.
Start
so it's not
carrying
going
that,
to,
yeah.
but you have to basically leave the aid station, each aid station with 2 litres of water.
Wow.
So it meant that I have these 2 500-litre soft flasks here in the front that are easily accessible, and then a litre, so 2 soft flasks in the back.
And that's also adding weight to it too.
And for me, that weight really, it cut into my skin, and it was 4.5 kilos, my pack in the end, and I literally threw it at Sean at the end. I was just
here you go.
Have that. So, that water is a mission. So, I don't like running with water either, especially on my training runs. So, if I don't have to, then I won't.
Yeah. I ditched mine today. I went past the car at about 12K. So I was like, I've drunk enough.
Well, that's why I like running at that Lark Hill track. It's only 3Ks.
Yeah.
If I wanted a thing of water, 3Ks, and in 3Ks time, can go by, have a sip of something, and off I go again for my next lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that about Lark Hill. So, sometimes we'll put a table down the bottom of the hill. We always do. Sometimes I'll use it. But, so that's what I did this year. Had the table at the bottom of the hill, and I just had a bottle on that table, in a bag on that table. And so I'd grab that, and I'd run up the hill around the building, drinking, sipping away, and then dump it at the bottom of the hill and grab it again at, 3K later, 2.8, 2.6K later.
Yeah.
I find that much better than carrying anything.
Yeah. Yeah, funny story was I was training on Dave's climb. Do you know of Dave's climb?
No. I'll be.
Dave has a part of the Serpentine Forest named after him, and I'm not sure why.
Dave, why don't you tell this about me and your wife? The introduction.
It's a nice little climb. It's about 100 meters vert over just under 300. So it's about a 300 meter climb, but 100 meters vert. So I think it's 25% average.
Jeez.
Certainly no walk in the park.
No, so I decided I was going to train on it because I was running a race that had a lot of vert. So it's one of the few places you can actually get vert quite close to home. Yep. So I was running, I don't even know how many times. I don't know, 7 times or something. So I put my soft flask at the bottom, and I'd run up Dave's climb, up Western Summit, which is just another little bit, and then come back down, have a drink. But one day I came back down and the soft flask was gone.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what? And there was nobody in the forest. And there was nobody at Serpentine Falls. And I was just like, that's so weird. And
maybe it's a cassowary waiting for it.
Well, funny. Well, I actually asked the parks people at the gate. I said, it's so weird. If somebody ever comes up to you and brings it over, it was mine. And she went, no, sometimes the kangaroos pick
Close
things
enough.
up.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So, it disappeared on Dave's climb.
Pouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I was actually looking up your results from the first Lark Hill. So you finished 5th female in that first race. So you wouldn't have got one of the prize winners' packs, but maybe someone did donate it and you were the lucky recipient, and you're like, what do I need a pack for? I must have to run 100 miles or something.
I actually hated running on the trails. And I only ran on the road at that point. And now you won't find me on the road. I hate running on the road. It's like a complete flip around. And I think maybe that pack did it.
Yeah, that's funny. I actually started running on the roads as well. Now I virtually never, for me, it was noteworthy today that I did about 2K on the road. That's a lot of road for me. But it linked up a couple of trails, so it was legitimate use of road. Yeah. And there wasn't much of a verge on it, otherwise I would have been running on the gravel verge. But I met a guy, Graham Mayer, when I'd been running, I think I've been running about 9 months, and he said, we met on a message board, Marathon Club message board, and he said, I've had 7 operations. You try and avoid the road if you can. I'd been running less than a year, and I thought, sounds like sensible advice. So from that moment on, I prioritise running on trails, grass, beach, and not a lot of road. So I think it's been helpful keeping me injury free in a way, but I've also rolled my ankle 3 times this week as well, trail running in the dark. So, yeah, it's not great for the ankles, but great for the rest of the body.
Well, that's a lesson to me too, because the time when I actually initially injured my foot, because I found out the actual cause of it's just got the tight peroneus muscles along the outside of my calf. And I actually can pinpoint the day I did it, which was April 12th. And a lot of that run was done on what I call the 3 bridges course.
Oh, yeah.
So you run across like all the 3 bridges, do a big loop around Mandurah. And yeah, pretty much 95% of that track is either on pavement or road. And I'm thinking, yep, I'm not going to ever run on roads again. So I can officially put my application into the Roadless Runners Club.
Well, Mandurah, I was kind of a little bit of a Mandurah podcast this morning, but Mandurah is good that we do have a lot of trails close by.
Sure.
Yeah, like Marley Reserve, and then like Len Hutton down at Erskine.
Just for you guys looking.
Len Howard, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, just for you guys looking for those giants, there's one in Marley Reserve.
Yes, there is. Yeah, and you can extend Marley Reserve all the way up to Wellard train station if you want to. So that was one of my options. I've been running Marley day to day, so I decided I would not run it today because I was thinking of doing that for my long run. I was like, I'm going to go somewhere a little bit different. So I headed out towards North Dandalup and joined together a couple of gravel roads. Very quiet gravel roads. I didn't see any cars at all.
Yeah, Trevor and I run that quite a lot as well. We do what we call triple lakes.
Yeah.
So we start at Black Swan Lake and we go into Marley and do circumnavigate Marley and then come back to finish off the circumnavigation of Black Swan, but then you just go over the road and you can circumnavigate a little bit of Paganoni as well.
Yeah.
So we call it the triple lakes. Sometimes we do double or double triple or but yeah.
Yeah, I've been running with Drew. We park at the Serpentine, not the Singleton Informations Bay there, and then there's a trail that runs along the road to Paganoni, and then from Paganoni you've got quite a few different options. So you've got around that lake, the third lake, the sand one, or you can go north just along the railway line, or you can go south along the railway line, and then you can go under the railway line, and then there's trails all through there on the other side as well. So quite a few little options, and then you can also add dunes in on the west side as well. So that's where I've been rolling my ankle there a lot lately. So I'm kind of trying to stay off the dunes while it's dark. Maybe as the days get longer, I'll have enough time to run in there before or after the sun's come up. I had another question for you, Jen.
Oh no.
Could you tell us a little bit about your training philosophy?
Oh no.
Oh, this is going to be good.
My training philosophy. It's
So when it comes to like philosophy, it's all about like what sort of tools that you use into aid like your training and your races, and like if you find yourself down in the dumps type things, like what do you fall back on, like to help you get you through those tough patches. Like we all have great patches of like, you know, when I'm in a gym and I've got good sets of squats going or good sets of deadlifts going, but then there's going to be one day where I'm a little bit tired and I need to hit this set like as best as I can. I kind of pull something out of my hat to say, okay, well, you've got this. You need to do this. Like this is you. So like in a way, what allows you to pull yourself out of ruts, and like what do you fall back on strongly to help you conquer all these things? Like it's a bit of a philosophy. It's like what drives you to do the things that you do and how, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I used to run with Chris Slattery, and then we got to start running with Mick Francis, who is an absolutely amazing ultra runner.
I know Mick. Shout out to Mick.
Yeah, phenomenal runner. And he sort of started running with us and sort of coaching us in some sort of way. I find it really hard to listen to other people.
Yeah.
And then I had a little bit of a stint with Dave, and Dave and I were running quite a lot together. And then I sort of said, do you think you could try and coach me? Because I felt like that's what everybody else was doing. Everybody was getting a coach, and I sort of felt like, okay, maybe I need a coach.
Yeah.
And Dave said, yeah, you'll have a go coaching me. And, both Dave and Mick are absolutely phenomenal coaches and brilliant at what they do. But I just felt that I just need to do what I do because I want to do it. And I never go out and do a run to get it done.
Yeah.
So if I don't feel like I want to run, then I won't run. So if I'm in that rut that you're saying that you're in, I won't go. I never want to actually hate running.
Yeah, okay.
I want to continue to love it, and if I don't feel like I want to go, I won't go, because otherwise I'm afraid that I might start to resent it.
Yeah.
No, I've actually got to get out there, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. If I don't do it for just because I want to do it, then then I just go on my body as well. So like if I want to train for a race, I think, okay, I probably should get to about so much a week. So I sort of split it all up in my head, and then I'll go. And if I feel good, I keep going. If I don't, I'll come back.
So you make it manageable. That's like put your training into like bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, my training is just how I feel on the day.
Yeah.
I get up in the morning and I get dressed, and if it's raining, I'll go, I'm dressed now, so I might as well go.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But when I'm out there, it's lovely, and I
So you kind of forget all about the prep. Like once you're out there, you're out there.
Yeah, once I've got dressed, I'm ready to go, and I just go. And if I don't get up and get dressed, then I don't go. And that's Trevor and I have a saying. We were like Trev Jensky coaching, because we just go and just do whatever we want to do, and just do it because we love it, not because somebody's told us to do it. And I think some people need that, and some people are good at telling other people what to do and stuff, but I don't know, for me, I just really want to do it because I love it.
Yeah.
I think with myself, like I probably had a similar experience. I had a coach for about 2 weeks, and it didn't really work for me. One of the things I found was I got sick, like, because normally if you know your body, if something's not quite right, you'll run less, you'll run slower. But because I had the program and the coach is like, let's do it, and then
you feel like you need to go.
You feel the pressure, and so then I came back too quickly from that cold, and then I got sick again, and it happened like 3 times in 2 weeks. And then another experience I had with it, like I would so I was getting coached by Martin Fry, and he's had a great deal of success with a lot of people, especially for the 24-hour events, encouraging them to get into fast walking. And I remember it was middle of winter, and I went out for a long run, and he had scheduled me to do fast walks every 6th minute or something. Maybe it was 15, walk 2 minutes fast every 15. And it was maybe 5 degrees or something. And that 15 minutes was just not long enough to warm me up. And then the 2 minutes would be freezing, and then I'd run the 15 minutes and I'd be like, just comfortable again. And then I'd walk for 2 minutes, it'd be freezing. I just found, I found that difficult. Maybe I should have stuck with it. I think by the time I got a coach, I probably didn't so much need one. It would have been great to have a coach when I first started, or when I first started getting serious about running. I shared a lot of my beginning story last week, and it was good to just kind of naturally evolve into kind of what interests me. Like if I'd got a coach right at the beginning, it would have been a triathlon coach. We would have been triathletes, Jen. Like I did way too much fast running when I first started. So I feel like my body does not respond well to fast running, because like it's actually still cooked from never running slower than 4-minute Ks for the first year that I was running. and I'll off a lot of the time closer to 3. So I think just listening to your body. Are you aware of Courtney DeWalter and her achievements and her kind of training philosophy? Yeah, she's very much the same. Like she'll just she has no schedule and she'll do just what she feels like that day. Yeah. Sometimes she said she'll go out the door and it'll be 45 minutes. Sometimes it'll be 4 hours. And
based on that, she won the UTMB du Mont Blanc off of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it helps if you have the strong desire to do well. So, like today, I wanted to run 20 plus K. I haven't done a proper long run for a little while because I've had an injury. So, I arranged my schedule around trying to get a long run rather than a ride in today. And when my course with flooding and rain kind of ended up finishing at 17K rather than 21, 22, I was kind of feeling a little bit guilty, not so much like I was a slave to the program, but I would have preferred to do a little bit more. But I think like elite runners like Courtney would have a similar attitude, like where they're wanting to do more often. Like they're not like kind of pressing the snooze button in bed going, I'll just sleep for a bit longer and go out later. Like they have that drive. And sometimes, and I think that was part of the trouble, like not the trouble, but that was one of the things I worked on with you, Jen, was like, kind of scaling you back a little bit so you weren't doing too much. And often with driven athletes, and the elite runners do tend to be driven, part of that skill is actually like pulling them back rather than letting them do too much. Because if you look at my career and all the times that I've found myself in great form, I'll usually go and do something stupid and then it'll be all over.
So it's like, when you have a coach, like they kind of like they've got to realize or they've got to recognize the fact that, you do, like you're elite because of the stuff that you've done over the years. And so when a coach comes in and they need to recognize that straight away, almost as quick as they can. So, for one, you don't get bored of them and they can figure out what you actually need to do. Because once you can hold an athlete and once, you're able to give them what they need and they benefit from that and they improve and perform based off of that, that's a very good skill to learn. Now, when I was a coach, I had to find that out pretty quick. With strength training, I had to realize, okay, I've got a person that's a little bit more advanced than what I initially thought based on our conversations, because you can only get so much off of a conversation. Like 80% of your information that you get from them is that conversation face to face, but they won't necessarily consciously let you know that they're capable of so much more. Yeah. So it's like you've got to. It's an amazing thing to learn, and once the athlete for themselves, once they've realised that they can essentially take off, like it's like, oh wow, I can actually do this. Like it boosts their confidence. They get back to the coach, and it can develop into a very good coach-client relationship.
Yeah, I also think with myself, I'm a female, and females go through a lot more things or a lot of different things to males. For sure. And with my age, I have menopause to deal with, along with perimenopause, where you still get a period and but you're also going through hot flushes and things like that. So I've had to navigate over the last 7 odd years my hormones and my everything just trying to find its way. And that has to play a lot with my training as well, and how I navigate races and how I navigate my training myself. And sometimes you just need to go with what your body is telling you.
And what about your sleep? How with all of that you've just said and your training, how do you get good sleep?
I do. I do get quite good sleep now. I do get up early in the morning and go for my run, and then I go to work, and then I might go for another run, and by 8 o'clock I'm tired. 8:30 I'm in bed, and I'm so tired and fulfilled that I just sleep.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of, with the question, a different, like, it was kind of really interesting to look at the psychological aspect of your training philosophy, but I was actually thinking more of the nuts and bolts. So you said earlier that you've done a lot of like 100K weeks leading up to this race. So is that one of the things you're aiming for, 100K plus weeks? And I know you do regular long runs. Are you building your programs around one regular long run and aiming for a specific mileage target? That's kind of where I was thinking, as like the nuts and bolts of how you structure your training in your mind and how it turns out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think too deeply. I do. I have found that I, as a female, need to go to about 110 a week leading up to a 100-miler race.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going to do a backyard ultra, then I need to get the kilometres up on my legs so that they're not too tired feeling. So I feel like I have to, I'm quite comfortable going to about 110. At one point a few years ago, I was doing 150 a week. I just found that with work, and at that point the girls were still at home, they're not really at home anymore. I just found that too much and took up a lot of my time. So I scaled that back down to about 110 in the lead up to a race. But and depending on whether I'm in the school holidays or whether it's during school term, will depend on how long those runs are during the week. But if by Friday I've sort of haven't really got the mileage in my legs, I'll pop in a big run on Saturday or Sunday to make it up. And I'll, depending on whether it's a hilly race or a backyard ultra that's flat, I'll try and get some vert in there. In the lead up to this Unreasonable, we know there's a lot of hills, so we've just been trying to get some vert every week.
So with that, are you doing reps, or are you like doing hilly long runs, or are you just trying to do lots of hills all throughout the week?
Yeah, no, I can't stand reps. So no, we just try and find a course that's got over 1,000 vert and try and do that, yeah.
So you wouldn't be keen on doing a vertathlon on Dave's climb?
I know, you've
10
tried
laps.
that one before, Dave. Remember you did that 24-hour. I'm like, nah, not doing that.
That'd be a good area to test my foot on.
That would be very painful. Well, we might leave it at that for the first episode. So Jen's going to be back with us next week as well. So tune in again. And thanks, Jen, for coming in. It's great talking to you, and look forward to discussing a few more things in the next episode.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Watsy.
Thanks, Jen, for joining us.
You're welcome.